obviously a tough one for us. I think starting that second half the way we did, just a little unlike us, and a lot of learning and growing to come from this. And credit to them, obviously defending league champs, regular season and everything, and they came in with a lot of purpose and a lot of focus for what they were trying to do to us, and thought it was a good experience for our group and something to reflect on properly, but we got to also get ready for Sunday. So,
Dan, play a team of that caliber this early in the season and to have it be your conference opener, you talk about teaching moments. How much can you learn from a game like this to help you in the future?
Yeah, I think a good amount. We saw a lot of the adjustments they were making. Shoot, the way they started the game was an adjustment, and that's good. That's good for us to go through and experience, and we got to do it with the new group. You got to do it together. And I think for us, again, another game plan that shifts towards us and what we can do versus it. And I think it was a great experience for us. Obviously, terrible the way we lost and the way it went down to start that second half. And then good for us to experience, like, why are we trying to hit home run plays over and over again? And I think that was something that we'll reflect on properly, and hasn't affected us in a little while, but our after miss offense was a little bit of an issue.
What was missing tonight?
I think our rhythm after misses. I think it started in the first half when they started out in the zone and trying to keep us off balance, off rhythm, and then when we were able to get stops and even string stops together, we're so used to having that spurt ability, and it was like the rhythm of the game. The ball was ahead of the players a lot. The ball handler was ahead of the players a lot, where usually our spacing is a little bit more correct. And I think that's what happened. And I think we really tried to attack the rim early on and lost vision of our eyes out mentality, and our rhythm was definitely an issue.
For a team that you want to play fast, but you were giving up a lot on the other end, how do you account for that?
Yeah, I think it was because of that rhythm, because of that missed rhythm. I think it's hard when it's disjointed and the ball's in different parts of the court than we're used to. Our transition defense, we call it convert. The convert couldn't really happen correctly. So now we're running back and we're in different situations that we're not in too often, and that's what I'm most disappointed about.
In the first half, Quinnipiac was doing a really good job of hitting their jump shots, but they didn't seem to feel as comfortable inside.
Yeah.
And then in the second half, they got a lot of dunks and more of an inside presence and continued to hit the three ball. What worked and what didn't work with your guys' interior defense and perimeter defense?
Yeah, it was like a domino effect. In the first half, we were there. Wherever the ball handler was, whatever, we did a really good job with the scout and how we were pinching the basketball, and we really understood the personnel around us. And in the second half, I thought we just were a little mindless to start the half. I think my biggest regret is probably should have called it right at 1925 mark, called that timeout and got us back in the correct mindset, because I feel like we got mindless with how we pinched the basketball, and then we were late to the pinches, which then gives you cutting lanes, which then gives you the rim, and that's obviously what we're trying to defend at a high level.
There was, both sides had a pretty low field goal percentage in the first half, and Quinnipiac seemed to find their rhythm. What prevented you guys from kind of getting more efficient later on?
Yeah, I just think we weren't hitting singles. We finally got the one where we got the right wing three, where Cozy, he kind of had Lamine in the middle. He drove, hit the right wing, which was open a lot, and then we were able to play 2-on-1 a little more consistently. And they did a great job. I think their wings are long and great defenders, and they deflected a lot of our passes to start the game, which maybe made us a little hesitant. But it was more the wings, not the top of the zone, and I think that was pretty evident that we needed to find our rhythm, needed to find our comfort, and continue to trust in the 3-point attempts, and then how we can continue to attack that paint. And I loved how we got fouled a lot tonight, and it was good for us to attack the zone that way. But there's other ways as well.
Coach, you spoke to the length that they had on the wings, and they kind of looked like a 1-3-1 out there, which I know could be a difficult defense to try and adjust to on the fly. How do you feel like that challenged you guys not only in the perimeter, but kind of as far as the opportunities at the basket? It seemed like they were kind of able to throw you guys a little bit off track there as well.
Yeah, I think when you're putting Lamine in the middle of the zone, which is good, and they made him a scorer. And I think teams are going to do different things to him. I mean, obviously he's a special player. He did pretty well scoring. I think that's a big thing. We need to continue to understand how high some of our guys are on the scouting report. They haven't been that in a long time, and it's good that they need to feel that, see that, and then have proper production for where they're going next. That's what I would say, and that's where, to me, that's the reflection of what we're doing. That's where we're at. Obviously, they had a lot of purpose and force in that second half, and we had to feel that and understand that that we didn't just all of a sudden catch back up.
Coach, how do you keep your guys' morale up after a tough loss like that?
Oh yeah, we'll be all right.
I'm sure.
We have a long season ahead of us. I think these early conference games seem to get a bit of a reaction, which is fine. I think it's on us, it's on myself to make sure that reaction is an overreaction. And had the tables been turned, I had said the same thing too. Like this is a big step in our process, as they all are. Sacred Heart's going to be a big step, then Bryan's going to be a big step, and then St. John's and Vermont before Christmas. So I think it's just understanding our bigger picture, what we're after, and why we all chose to do this.
Coach, you talked about taking away so much from this game, but what do you tell the guys to really work on going into a game on Sunday when you have such little time to really do stuff?
Yeah, it's not a lot of reflection tomorrow. It's more preparation. We'll schedule it out. What our reflection looks like next week in between those Wednesday, Saturday games. Tomorrow's more preparation, though. I think our preparation is elite. I think we did a great job in the first half of that preparation. I wish that's my biggest regret. I wish it was an earlier timeout to get us more mindful, a little quicker. But Sunday's a whole different game and 2:00 tip. That's why I love this conference. I really do. I think it's obviously super competitive. Teams went on the road all the time in this conference. I think it's the highest road win percentage in the country for any conference. And I think that's the whole idea is like, now how do we prep and respond for what we're after? I think our toughness was questioned, and how do we respond to that? It's going to be correctly or incorrectly. We're going to find out Sunday at 2. But for us tomorrow, it's about the preparation. How are we, kind of having like a different mentality, a different vibe for what we're after? How do we feel after losing like this, and then a road game Sunday? You got to show up. So that's where I'm thankful for. My career, I'm unfortunately used to some of the quick turnarounds, so it's on me to make sure that's how we prepare right, and that's how we scout correctly and get our guys mindful for 2 p.m.
Was that second half like a welcome to conference play moment?
Sure felt like it. They're great. You know what I mean? They all came back and want to do this thing at a high clip. I think that's good for us. Our guys are coming from all over the place, and I think we just tried to get it back all at once too much. I think that's the great part of the MAC is these guys are talented, tough-minded. While they also attacked our rim to start, then they attacked our glass after because we were too loose in our rotations. So for me, it's like that's what a lot of the MAC is. That's the great part of this conference, and we obviously love being in it, and I think it's good for our guys to feel it, understand it, and now try to prep for what Sunday's going to look like.
Coach, thoughts on Cozy, how he played the first game back?
Yeah, I think it was good. I think obviously it's a tough first one back, and he hasn't played. We were hoping to get him back for Delaware, but it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel right to make that a thing or push that. And same thing, I think he's got to find his rhythm. He's got to find his reasoning for his paint production and things. And I thought he attacked really well. I think, again, they got us out of rhythm, so that even hurts him even more while trying to come back and try to find his flow. But obviously, we love him. We think he's going to be a really great player this whole year. So just getting him back in his known situations, known spacing, helps a lot. And then defensively, his versatility can continue to unlock us.
All right. Anything else? All right.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.